Hi everyone, it's Nono here, and this is an introduction to Next.js with React and TypeScript. We're going to see an overview of how we can use one of the Next.js templates to build a React application that uses TypeScript from scratch. Next.js is a powerful library that allows you to do server-side rendering and build single-page applications with a lot of stuff for free. And if you're familiar with React, maybe with JavaScript or ideally with TypeScript, this video will walk you through some of the differences between having it in JavaScript and TypeScript and how we can get started quickly and build a website. All right, let's get started. Next.js is made by Vercel and is a React framework for production to create websites. It has TypeScript support, it has a bunch of optimizations and things, and also server-side rendering, what I mentioned before, to render your website before it's going to be served, so it doesn't have to be dynamically served to as you're using the thing. So let's take a look at how to create a new React with TypeScript. So learn Excel TypeScript. Next.js provides an integrated TypeScript experience out of the box. In this lesson, you'll learn how to convert the blog app you've built. I haven't built any blog app, I'm sure. So this is a blog application built with Next.js, which is pretty plain, but it's cool. Yep. What you learn: how to set up Next.js with TypeScript, how to use Next.js specific types, how to convert your blog to TypeScript. All right, npx create next app, blah 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 blah. All right, let's just try this. Next.js blog directory. Maybe we can put this on the live stream open source repo, so it would be in folder 27. Yeah, I actually made a mistake here, so this is 27, and we're gonna go here to live, make there 27, and let's work in this directory. So we are going to follow this one. So I rather example. What other examples are there? npx create one, and let's first see if we have npx. Right, 7.6. So npx is a library that comes with npm to execute functions or package binaries, as it calls here. And we can have a command, I think, from the web or something. So we have these create commands, create next app or create React app. So we can say npm create next app. And here I'm just going to be copying Next.js blog, use npm example, and then we copy the URL of the example, which we can actually open here. Basics final. All right, we can browse through the code here. So we have these components. All right, and what it seems that we're gonna be doing is, so we have a project here that is a Next.js blog in JavaScript, and we're going to convert it into a TypeScript project. So we'll get probably to this result, like a spoiler. But yeah, let's actually go through it, and that way we need to install the following packages. Yeah, so we need to install the create next app package, downloading from Vercel. And Vercel, that was before called Save Now. Save Now is what this was called before, now it's called Vercel. And it's a platform that allows you to develop applications and ship them to the web really easily. Start deploying. I do have my own account, and we might use that. All right, so now we have here this Next.js blog. I guess from that command, this was the name of the application that I was creating. And I'm gonna change it, so well, let's leave it like that. And I'm gonna go inside there. What did that say? Yeah, npm run dev. So npm run dev, and port 30,000 is already in use. Who's using port 30,000? Okay, so our other application is actually being served there. So I'm gonna stop it. And now we're gonna run it again. Start it there. We're gonna allow connections. And we're gonna open that URL, and we're gonna see our website. Cool. Your name, yourself, introduction, the sample website, blah blah blah. back to home. All right, there is a lot of stuff that is given to us here for free. And today I don't know if we have time to learn every single thing, but we're going to take a look really quickly. And okay, so this is the other application. I'm going to go and edit the coding here. So we do have this, and I'm going to go back to where we were before. I'm going to close everything else. And the only thing we want to see right now is this tutorial. We want to see the follow instructions, see the introduction server, which we did. You should also update the following files with your photo. All right, let's actually do that. So we're here, so we can, let me see, profile pics. Let's see which one I can get. This one. So that should be on public images profile, public images profile. What else? Constant name, your name. Cool. So const name in layout. Yeah, hello Lourdes. Good to see you're connecting today. Hello, where is posts? Wait, components. Okay, so we have this layout component here. And in name, I'm just going to put my name. So Nono Martinez Alonso. And a self-introduction. Let's see, bio. Let's see if we can get a short one here. We just put this one. I'm just going to put my description. You can put yours. Self, where is that? So we have here self-introduction, which is at index.js. We're going to put it here. All right, and yeah, we have we have hot reloading, which is awesome. So we can see here, let me see, that every time that I change something here, so for example, change a few words, this is updating live, which is really convenient. And now we're gonna get that back to where it is. Yeah, so this is really nice. It's really convenient to have that because usually you don't have that. It takes a lot more time to develop things. All right, let's keep going with our tutorial. So we have here next and create a tsconfig. To get started, create an empty tsconfig.json file in the root of your project. All right, so this, you don't need to do touch tsconfig. You can create the file manually, but we're going to do it that way. So before we do that, if I list my files, there is no tsconfig. When I do that, tsconfig.json, and then I do ls again, you can see that file exists. And if I do cat tsconfig, it's empty, right? If I edit it and put here something, you can see that cat shows the contents, right? So we go to our tsconfig file, which is wrong because it's JSON and it doesn't really have JSON syntax. You should have something like this at least, and JSON schema, no inputs were found, blah, blah, blah. And we're just going to follow our guide. Now try starting, restarting the server. It will give you a warning. It looks like you're trying to use TypeScript but do not have the required packages installed. Let's do as this wants us to do. So we can open a terminal here, and I can maybe put this here. So npm run dev, but we need to stop the other window. So port 3000 already in use. Let's see if this stopped already. Hi from Toronto. Hi Purna. Nice to see you around. Thanks for connecting. All right. Right now I'm follow the TypeScript. All right. So I don't really know why the server is still on. Should be off, and I don't really know how to reset it right now. Let me just try npm run dev. I don't really know why this got here. It's in limbo. You can see this is the process name, and we're gonna delete that. That doesn't work. All right, so npm maybe now. Okay, now it seems like it released the port, so I can do that. We allow connection. And now this gives us the warning that we could see there on the tutorial. So we don't have the packages, so we just have to install the packages with npm. So we do npm install or I, and then we do save dev, which you can also do with D. And we do TypeScript, and then we add the node types. So the types for React and for Node. If we go, before we do run this command, if we go here to dependencies, right, we only have dependencies right now. We don't have development dependencies, what would be called dev dependencies here. And we have React DOM, remark HTML. This is to parse Markdown and do some other nice things. We have Next, data NFS, and gray matter. I don't know this one. Gray matter, parse front matter from a string, fast, reliable, parse YAML. Okay, modern JavaScript date utility library. Right, this is nice because this actually fetches. So next, the React framework. Okay. React is a JavaScript library. Cool. So when we do this, this is save dev, and you can test the same happens if we do -d. It's exactly the same. I press, and what this does is it fetches the packages and installs them even before I can finish the sentence. And now they're here on the dev dependencies block. And if we wanted to uninstall them, we could actually remove these ones, do npm install, and they will get deleted again, right? Remove 5 packages, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to install them back. And you could, of course, also manually specify versions and other things, but we don't really need to do that because this resolves to dependencies that are required by these other dependencies. Now try starting the development server again. After starting the server, Next.js will populate the tsconfig for you. You might customize this file, create the Next.js file, which ensures Next.js types are picked up by TypeScript compiler. You should not touch this file. You can now use TypeScript for your Next.js application. Let's talk about how to convert your Next.js app into TypeScript. All right, I don't need to look at this anymore or this for now. We can leave this empty, leave it open, and take a look at our files. So right now I'm going to do npm run dev. You're going to see that this doesn't work at the moment. Well, we closed the guide, but we're going to leave that there. Using Webpack 4, future Webpack option not enabled. We detected TypeScript in your project and created a tsconfig file for you. And probably the types as well. So now we have the TypeScript file here with all the boilerplate code for TypeScript to function on our application. You can see here, we'll probably not learn a lot about this right now, but this specifies a lot of the things of how TypeScript has to work. And we probably need to also understand what TypeScript is and how to use it with JavaScript. But again, let's try to move fast with this tutorial today. And we have this Next.mdts, which is it references the Next and Next types global types, which let's take a look. Next.js, the types. Let's take a look if we can find that. Types. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to, yeah, Redux. Yeah, I don't know, but those types will be defined somewhere else that I don't know right now. We might be able to see something if we open our node models next and take a look at this. So in types, we have, okay, so these are the files. So we can open that one and that one. This is what's called typings, right? And this defines some typings that if we use them in our, wait, this is here, in our code, they're going to be picked up, which means that they're recognized by the application. And if, for instance, we used the redirect type, it's only going to allow us to use the status code 301, 302, 303, 307, 308, right? It will fail if we use something else. And maybe, well, we can try that later. We're not going to try that now. But yeah, there's a lot of typings that have to do with how Next.js works here. And that's why this file is created. All right, now that we've understood a bit more, we're going to close everything and click next. So we're going to continue. Is this the fourth page? All right, so this is the fourth page. So everything. Next.js specific types. Here are some Next.js specific types you can use. Static generation and server-side rendering for get static props, get static paths, and get server-side props you can use. We won't learn that much about them right now. Get static props, async content, get static props. Yeah, we probably learn about this some other time. So let's see, maybe leave it here for live 28. Next.js. What is this? Next.js types. Well, types. All right, let's continue. API routes. The following is an example of how to use the built-in types for API routes. Maybe we do need to open this a bit bigger. Import, blah, blah, blah. Custom app. All right, custom app. You can convert pages app into pages app TSX and use the built-in type app props. So All right, so let's try to do it. Okay, so we go to app.js, and when I do Command P, and then I can type the name of a file here and enter, and then I open that quickly. So for example, app and then enter. And here, the main difference is we import differently app props from Next app. So import props from Next, but we need to change the extension to tsx. So function app component. Let me actually just put this here. Export default app. All right, so return the same component, and here we have app component, page props. I don't know if this will work, like no such file directory. All right, so we have the code here, and maybe we put this there. Export default function. All right, this seems like it would work, but I think we need to update the entire application. I don't know if this is, let's see where app is referenced. How do we define the entry point? That's what I'm trying to figure out. All right. Okay, so your app is now powered. To learn more, or blah, blah, blah. All right, so this helps us update the project manually. But as we saw before, we have here the TypeScript final, which is something you can go to if you want to take a look at what the end result is, and we're going to clone that now to have that as a test. And this doesn't work, of course. TypeScript final, and if we go here to pages, right, that's what it is. Index, yeah, because the system is looking for app.js still. All right, so I can see here, so we have a new member on the Discord community, so I want to welcome you publicly now that you did that. So feel free to introduce yourself on the introductions channel of the Discord server if you feel comfortable doing so. There is a template at the top of that channel that you can copy paste and change with your things, like introductions, say hi and feel free to introduce yourself. What's your name? Where are you from? What are your preferred pronouns? If you're a student or teacher, where do you go to school? How did you find getting simple on the machine learning live stream? Your favorite or first coding language, and other hobbies or interests. And if you're new to coding, that's okay as well. And this is a template based on the Coding Trains channel. All right, so with that, I'm gonna continue really quickly. I'm gonna go back here again, trying to be a bit concise today and not spend too much time with the nitty-gritty of this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the terminal. I'm gonna go back to that same folder. So we have this 0027. So we have this Next.js blog, and we're going to see if we've stopped that website. So that's stopped. And let's see if we can recover that code that we used to, okay, so this would be Next.js blog TypeScript. We have the basics final, so we could actually do here TypeScript final, and we already have create next app from before, so we don't have to install that now. So we'll run this, we're in the right folder, and after that's cloned, this installs all the dependencies. This already has TypeScript installed. We're gonna go, so this would be the name of our app, so we're gonna enter that directory. I'm writing that before this finishes. And I can click on npm run dev, I think. Yeah, so it's there. So I'm going to stop it because I'm going to edit this on Visual Studio Code, and we're going to take a look now. So this already has the tsconfig. We already have the package, so we have all those dependencies, everything we did. And if you take a look now at our components, our lib, where is it? Pages, posts API. Yeah, so we have the app here, TSX and the index.tsx. So everything is now on React application, right? With TypeScript and Next.js installed. And now again, if I go here and this already installed all dependencies, so I do npm run dev. Now we can go back to our application in 3000 and we'll have the boilerplate like start application. We don't have the configurations of the things that I customized, but we can do that again. So and then we go here, self introduction, copy that again, React and TypeScript. All right, so now we have that here. That's pretty cool. We could even add here, we need to see this more in detail, but I think we can put this like this. So we put an object here. And all right, and now the picture. So we just need to, and now we copy, let's see, copy Next.js blog public images profile into Next.js blog TypeScript public images. And maybe that's updated. All right, so we have our application. So this is like a replica of the application we had before, but completely built in React TypeScript using Next.js. What's special about Next.js before we wrap up or move into something else? What's special about this is that if we go into pages, so we have API and we have posts. I could, if I go and look at my page, I have posts, and by these are, we have an ID that refers to that post's SSH. By creating these folder posts, we do create this route. So this is, you can see it in here. So by creating this posts folder and then this ID, this is going to be our URL. So /posts/ and then the ID of the post. If we do the API hello, we'll do a /API/hello. And in hello, we have this API, which is just it's a JSON response that says hello. And we can see that if we go here and say, okay, API, hello, and we have that. And it's a JSON response. You can see it here on the, where is it? On the sources, maybe? Yeah, hello. So here in, where can we see that? Okay, here. So in hello, we can see the headers, and we can see that this is, so we do that. Yeah, now first time we load. So we have here a 200, okay, this is our URL, it's a get, and it's application JSON. So we have a perfectly formed JSON output here, and we could format it with whatever names, Peter, Maria or something. We can add from the public, Bea, Lourdes, Suje, Nodab, which is behind the scenes. All right, so yeah, so now we have the names and we have a perfectly formatted JSON array there. And easily we could make another one. So for example, I don't know, data.ts or something. And then we just copy paste that one and we say data and then some data. All right, now we could access that one. So we have this one here. We will here API data, and then we have that one there, which is pretty cool. So this boilerplate application comes with the API directory and the posts, which it's a bit more complex. It actually gets some properties from the data, which I guess is here on these Markdown files. So it does get some static items to render them server side with Markdown and then put them in there. And then we could also create a new file here and say, for example, I don't know, bio tsx, and we just copy the boilerplate from our index. And we don't really need all this stuff, all post data. First, let's see if it works, right? So we have bio here already, which is already working. Now we can say layout home. This is a site title. We could put here different site title, which is bio there, right? So on the, wait 1 second. So site title, Next.js sample. So we put bio, so you get that there. And now I'm just gonna remove everything. So I'm gonna just leave a section and remove this. Layout seems home, and this is not home. So what happens? All right, so we have layout, which if it's home is going to render the image greater. If it's not, it renders something else. So you have our bio. We don't really need all of these things now. We don't really need to get this data. So we can remove all these things and this, and that's it. So back to home, because it's not home. And now from our index, we could link to our, let's take a look at the layout. Back to home. All right, so we just bio, and we could do something like this. So instead of not from here. So I'm gonna link from I'm gonna make a new section just to try it, and I'm gonna make a link, and it's gonna be called bio page, and it's gonna go to bio. So we now go back, and now we have bio page here, which this section could be moved up here, and now we click and we go to bio, and then we back home, and then we're here. So in a nutshell, what Next.js does is it's an opinionated framework of how you have to build or use React in order for the framework to expose your website as an actual website that can be served on a port. As you can see, super fast because it's React, but it uses the history API to create actual URLs and is doing server-side rendering. So when I load, I think you actually, if I go here, I'm actually, let's see, so we have this thing here. We go to the source code with Command-Alt-U, and then we search for that. And indeed, the content is there. And something I was trying is, if I do this, right, I get this URL, and I do curl, download that website, and then the output, put it on my desktop. So bio.html, for instance, right? So these downloads, and then if we open that file, we actually get that code, which let's actually open it to read it. Champ, not a chimp. And so if I go here, right click, format document, and you can see this is the actual HTML. This is SEO friendly, it's properly formatted, and it's something that Google would like to, to index as a web result, as of a search result. And we have all the content here, that's really important, because that's what many people, including myself, are afraid of when you're like, say, okay, let's use React to build a single page application. But this gets rid of that problematic, and it does it by creating a React component or like a class file per route that you want to have, and by default it does use that folder and file name convention to establish the route of the things that you're going to be showing in there. And I believe that, as far as I can see, the routes and the ID are somehow magically converted from the name of these files. So for example, if I were to put here a new post, so say next, so nono ma life, for instance, and then we might copy just the template from here. So this was written today, nono ma life, and then we write some markdown here. You can browse, so you can watch live stream or live streams, and then I put none of the ma / life, for instance. So we now can go here, go back to home. We have this post, which is probably being sorted by date, so from old to new, so new to old, and I click here, and I have that markdown page rendered, which is fairly simple, fairly quick, and pretty easy to make. And you can think of this, you don't really need to have this sense of that you're building a website with different pages, but maybe a single app that every time you click, you can send a URL to somebody, you can open a new tab, and then you get to the exact same state at which you were. So for example, if we go to forms or pre-rendering, right? We can go here and open that, or open it, for instance, in Safari. Cool. And the entire website works here as well. All right, so that's a quick intro to many things. I know we've covered too many different things, and probably if you're not familiar with this, it's really hard for you to grasp. I've talked about React and Next.js and these things before, not Next.js, but React and TypeScript and Electron. We could add this page into our Electron application. I don't really know what the main changes would be that would be required. We're not going to do that now. We don't really need to do that right now. But if we do have this running, and it's a localhost 3000, so it's still here, there is something super cool. Let me see if I have a Nativefier, and you just put here a URL, so localhost 3000, that's my web. I put it there, enable converting icons, enable to blah, 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 build into here. All right, move app into my desktop. All right, and what we got is a Darwin app, which is a wrapper of a website. So it's not really an Electron app per se, but it's a wrapper of an Electron app, which seems like right now doesn't work. It's called, all right, maybe, okay, so let me do this properly. So I'll go to the desktop, so I'll remove the app, and I'll run the command again so you can see it, because I was on a weird folder. Nativefier, and then HTTPS, and then the website, and then unable to add an app name, falling back, preparing Electron, preparing, not sure if this is actually working. It doesn't work. Not sure if this is an error with Nativefier or with me trying to, so just to show, so we don't spend a lot of time with this, so just to show the potential behavior. So I can go to Nativefier with any URL. I don't know for what reason. Oh, okay. Let's step back for a second. I had an error there. I was using HTTPS, which doesn't exist. So we're gonna build this one, but we're also gonna build Nativefier. For example, I wanted to have my YouTube channel, an Electron app, Nono Martinez Alonso, there, or my Getting Simple website. So gettingsimple.com, and that's it. Boom. So what this does, and this is really quick, there's some errors there. Run verbose file already exists in the current version. Not sure what's going on. Let's see. I'm not sure if this is gonna work, but not that one. Nothing works today here. Nativefier. So npm install. Okay, so npm update global Nativefier. Let's see if that actually works. Remove that. Cool. Now I'm gonna try once more. Nativefier HTTP localhost 3000. Do you think this is gonna work? It looks different, but not sure. There's an error. Sim link. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe let's update Electron, because it seems like the version is 12. And there might be like a Electron.js. All right, so that's a dead end right now, but you would see an Electron app wrapped, and that's not that impressive either way. All right, so we've seen that. So I will now stop on this section. We've covered a lot of things. So intro to React. So at the end we saw, on the intro to React, we've seen Next.js. Look how fast this is, because it's probably built with Next.js. All right, I will just remind you to like the video. This is a really good way to support the channel and the work that I'm doing here, and to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, because this is a way in which you can get notifications when I go live next, or when I upload new videos. You should join us on the Discord community if that's something you want to do. It's nonodoma/Discord. A lot of people there. Yeah, and thanks a lot for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.